I hope you enjoy this. I think it's a really quality presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Fagan. Congratulations, President Larson, directors. It's my honor to bring forward a group from the Ponderosa Feeder that took an idea from this summertime and turned it into an opportunity for teachers to lead other teachers. As you know, we've asked a lot of our teachers and leaders in the last few years around training and around initiatives that we're putting into buildings. And we all know that we need to have a lot of people working on these things. So we're very excited to bring forward an innovative program that was developed in Ponderosa. I am up here on behalf of my partner, Dana Johnson-Strother, and also Mary Murphy, if you could give them both a round of applause. And I also wanted to take a moment to recognize Chuck Puga, because behind every idea is a leader that says, you know what, I think we can do that. So without further ado, there are 7 fabulous educators from the Ponderosa feeder area that are going to come up here and tell you a compelling story. So with that, I will turn it over to them.
Good evening, board. My name is Ryan Miwa, and I teach at Ponderosa High School. I teach chemistry and AP chemistry, and we are the Ponderosa Feeder Frenzy teachers. So we'll introduce ourselves, and then we have a quick prezi that sort of goes through the background of what the Feeder Frenzy is.
Hi, I'm Sandra Barrett, Ponderosa Math Department Chair.
Good evening, I'm Shannon Smith. I'm the Star Lab teacher, school coordinator, and part-time counselor at Ponderosa High School.
Hi, I'm Mary Jo King. I teach 5th grade at Franktown Elementary School.
Good evening, I'm Stacy Kuhn. I teach 1st grade at Mountain View Elementary.
Hello, thank you for having us. My name is Michelle Smith, and I teach 1st grade at Mountain View Elementary in the Pine.
Hello, my name is Adrienne Rabius, and I'm the art teacher at Northeast Elementary.
Okay, so the teacher leader roles for learning and leadership. There are several different positions that all work together as a learning and leadership team. The learning and leadership team, the L&L team, started out as an institute this summer where we all took training in how to train, well, to learn how to do our jobs and to learn to work with other teachers and to train other teachers to be the best that we can be. Building level teams are designed to support Douglas County School District innovative initiatives. The change agent is the leader of our team. They facilitate the outcomes for the Building L&L team and support effective collaboration among teacher leaders. It's usually the principal of each building and a BRT, which is now the PLS, the professional learning specialist at each team, at each building. The data analysis leader is a teacher leader who communicates best practices in data analysis. The quality assessment leader, or the QAL, is a teacher leader who supports creating quality assessments. The DADLs, the digital age teaching and learning leaders, are teacher leaders who collaborate to incorporate world-class tools which target world-class outcomes. The curriculum instruction leaders, that would be us. We call ourselves the CIL team. CIL team.
Yeah.
Really. We are teacher leaders who support our peers in effective curriculum development through backwards planning.
So one of the things that we had this summer is we had the opportunity to actually have some training as CIL leaders, and from that we had this idea of practicing what we preach. So we started off with a backwards plan, and we were sort of divided at first, and we were at feeder tables, and we had this idea of, you know, why are we creating all of these backwards plans at each individual school? So we had this really innovative idea of, let's do this as a feeder area. And we decided as a group that doing it as a feeder area is going to be really beneficial, not only for us because we have each other to rely on, but then also for our teachers because then there's support K-12. And so we really had this great idea, and from that we built what was known as the Feeder Frenzy. So Ponderosa has hosted this several times, and it's been great for our teachers. We have had a lot of great support. Some of the results from empowering other teachers to be leaders, is vertical alignment. So now we have teachers from K to 12 talking to each other saying, okay, what are you doing at this level? How can I incorporate it in at my level and have more of that vertical alignment? definitely collaboration among us as a CIL team, but also within our building, breaking down the communication. And I know, especially at the secondary level, sometimes it's hard because we go up into our little corner and stay there all day, but it's great to have the time and the support of other teachers to work through backwards plan, to work through some of these innovative approaches to education, and allow us to communicate, seeing what elementary schools are doing with PBL and how we can incorporate that at the middle and high school level. So it's been awesome in that sense. Plus, we now have common language, not only for teachers with all of these different acronyms of the L&L team, but also with the students. So when we say, what's a world-class skill, and they hear global awareness or civic responsibility, that they understand that that doesn't stop in the science classroom, but continues on to math and continues on to some of the other areas. So it's great to have that language, and it really helps the students to understand that education is not just these subjects that you learn as segmented parts, but really interdisciplinary across all content areas. And I think that really addresses the world-class outcomes with the 4 C's and those 21st century skills of what we want the students to actually understand. Bringing in that rigor and relevant framework, and the 4 C's is great. So it's been amazing for us as teacher leaders to empower our coworkers and empower our students and turn it back onto them to understand these innovative approaches and to become experts themselves and to provide the time and support that they need. And the best thing about it is we've really had feedback that they're more comfortable with it. And as you become more comfortable with something, you're more likely to incorporate it into your curriculum. So that, I think, is one of the biggest things that we've gotten as teacher leaders.
With our feeder frenzy, we've had a combined over 169 teachers. And our little school, Mountain View, we had, 16 or 17 teachers. And that just goes to show us, as the CILs, how much teachers want to learn this and how eager they are to and open to doing what's best in our classrooms. So that's exciting. And teachers were like, I'm so tired, but oh, I really need to do this. And it's one of those, it's kind of like working out when you have to go, and you always feel better because then they got a lot accomplished. There's less anxiety. As we found as we went through the comments, because after all the sessions we received input and data from them, it was wonderful. Even the conversations after the breakout sessions that we had in stages 1, 2, and 3 of the backwards plan, you could sense the tension, sort of like, oh, what are we doing? Because, if you don't know, you don't know. And afterwards, you could just, a little bit. And each and every time it got better and better. And as our groups were larger in the stages 1 for backwards plan, we found that that's decreasing quite a bit because teachers are comfortable with that. And our stage 2 and 3 are also, those are increasing in size. And in listening to the teachers and what they really needed, kind of our next steps are going to be next semester, we're going to be providing some differentiated sessions, some more things to help teachers. And those include the Inspired Innovation, our GVCs, 21st Century Skills, and the SAMR model.
So as Stacy said a little, we are going to be continuing on. We took a break now through Christmas time, but we have 3 sessions already pre-planned with the dates in mind so everyone knows when they are. And we are going to be taking that information that we got from the feedback to make sure we plan our sessions according to what teachers want and need. So we are working on using that data just to make sure we're being productive. We also have been able to, we've been able to demonstrate in our sessions great ways to help students to demonstrate what we're teaching. And so it's not just the teachers, but we're then bringing this into our classrooms, and it's making us better teachers, it's making the students better students and actually learning from that. We also have some demonstrations in here of how students have actually been using this and it's impacted their learning. So
How are scientists and artists similar? As a CIL coach, part of my role is to help others plan lessons that break away from the traditional approach. So as you can see with the student on top of the table, we are definitely breaking away from traditional approach there with that lesson. The initial lesson that I did with this classroom was to ask them to simply draw a foot. And they had to just rely on memory. But the enduring understanding here is that observation impacts results. And so we discussed as a class, how are scientists and artists really alike? And so the students came up with some fabulous answers. We talked a long time about how scientists and artists are so similar. They came up with answers such as they study, they examine, they concentrate, they communicate discoveries, they document details, and of course they observe. So then we did the lesson again. It was the same request. You need to draw a foot. And this time, as you can see, in order to observe, you had to take off your shoes. So we had a lot of little bare feet in there, and probably needed some air freshener, but anyway, I've just really enjoyed using that particular enduring understanding. I've used observation all year. Observation impacts results, and it's like whatever I'm teaching, I can always refer back to, hey, think like a scientist and an artist.
So the one I had here in my classroom is we were actually doing a lesson on money, and we started to talk about, we had already talked about pennies and nickels, and to be honest, I kind of had a brain freeze, and I was like, who's on the dime? And so I asked my kids, I said, how can we figure out who's on a dime? And right away they're like, Google it! So we Googled it, and we brought it up, and the kids were able to read about it. We talked, and it turned into almost a little history lesson also, because we started talking about what presidents are, how long, because kids were like, don't they get to be, and only get to be there for 4 years? And it really became a discussion other than just learning that a dime is 10 cents. It brought the kids, they got very involved, interacted in it, and were excited to know who was on a dime and what was on the back of it and why.
What ignites student learning? Well, I really think that the essential questions have been really awesome for my classroom. One of my charges as a CIL coach is to help educators dial in on those essential questions. At my school, we are starting to integrate a little project-based learning, which has been really fun because you can actually kind of use a driving question, which I like how it's worded better. Driving question. It drives the students' learning. How can we as artists become experts in the history of Impressionism and create our own impressionistic masterpieces based on our research? So maybe years prior, I might have gone straight for the painting because that is my true love, is to paint. But we've got the iPads out. We had tech time reserved, and the students seriously could become historians in Impressionism. And as a matter of fact, we're going to turn Northeast into an art museum one evening. And I've already had some job applications filled out for security guards and docents. And yeah, we have hallway display team, and it's been really great that the students are applying for these jobs, but they're going to be able to not only display their artwork, they're going to be able to talk about it. It's the best when you can see the connection extend beyond the classroom. So here is a fabulous photo of one of my students. A parent surprised me with this photo, and the child had, after the unit I was just talking about, drew a little Impressionism picture inspired by Claude Monet and the unit. And it was unprompted, and it was independently inspired. And when you see something like that, you know you're doing the right thing. You know that you want to keep doing that. And it's just the best reward ever. So as a CIL coach, I just have really enjoyed hearing other tales and talking to my colleagues and hoping to hear more connections outside of the classroom and see those. So
All right, so to echo Dr. Fagan's expression of how important our teacher leaders are in our schools, I'm just going to share with you real briefly how important it is as teachers for you to support us in extending our teacher leadership model throughout not just schools, but through vertical teams, through feeder teams, through district-wide curriculum teams. It's very important to us that you support that movement for us. And while it doesn't really feel like something new, every time something new is introduced, it becomes new again. Our teamwork becomes different, and how we interact with each other changes. So the biggest thing, if I can leave you with tonight, is the district initiatives, the things that you feel are most important for our students and the things that we feel are most important for our students, they will always have positive outcomes as long as you have the teacher leadership behind them. And I feel like that is the most driving issue in our district today, is that these teacher leaderships are being formed and that your support is paramount. It's the only way we can be successful. So our feeder frenzy model supports the need for this teacher involvement and input at every level of the building. And as President Larson could attest to, since he's visited so many of our schools, every single one of our schools has their own personality. When you walk into Ponderosa, it's very different than when you walk into Legend, and it's very different than when you walk into Chaparral and DC. And we're all so amazing, which is the best part. And then,
We're awesome. What can you say?
but we are. The stuff that is happening in those buildings every day is amazing because our kids make it happen and because we support our kids in our learning. And education has changed, as you well know from your experience as children. Teachers are trying to do less to students. We're trying to do less for students. We are really pushing our teacher leadership teams to do things with students. And that's where the PBL comes in. It's where these learning and leadership teams come in. We understand that the backwards plan is trying to support all of those changes, and that seems to be your direction, and that's our direction, which is really awesome to see some cohesiveness there. So now we get to the really touchy concept of compensation. To my knowledge, you're not paid. However, on top of that, for what you do here, I mean, on top of that, the hours and hours we spend, like when we went back and divide some of our salaries, we're like, woohoo, 75 cents an hour. So the investment you make in us to compensate us for the time that we spend on not only your initiatives, our district's initiatives, our building-wide initiatives is extremely important because it makes us feel valued. It makes us feel like you believe that what we're doing is headed in the right direction, and that you believe in us as individuals, and you believe in our kids as learners. So we appreciate that, and please continue. Thanks. All right, and finally, I just wanted to really emphasize, this happened just last week. You hear about teachers giving up their lunchtime to me about kids. It really happens. I documented it. This is a group of our teachers meeting about our math students, and we have a very special lab. I'm going to give Ms. Barrett the microphone here in just a second. She's going to share with you another example or an extension of the teacher leadership model that we have. And we have implemented our district-wide initiatives, but it's dependent upon the strong teacher leadership that you provide us the opportunity to show you. So with that, Ms. Barrett.
All right, I've got 90 seconds, so I got to make this good.
You're on the clock.
I want to give you just a little bit of background, and this is going to sound like a plug for Ponderosa. It is, but you kind of need to hear it. But the feeder frenzy has really asked us to, or excited us to take it further, so I got to give you some background so you know where it's coming from. A typical ninth grader walks into Algebra 1 and takes a year to complete it. A struggling ninth grader is placed in a 2-year program, and after 2 years is now a grade level behind. At Ponderosa, we don't do 2 years anymore. All students are given the opportunity to take Algebra 1 in 1 year and find success. To do that, that's our PTR. So remember that, you're going to hear it all across the district. PTR stands for Pre-Teach, Teach, Reteach. The PTR course is taken in collaboration with the Algebra 1 course, and all struggling students that meet criteria are given this course. And they're fighting to have it now. They hated it at first. They didn't want to be in there. They gave up an elective to take it. They don't want out. They're finding success. They're saying, I'm going to quote one kid, I feel like a rock star in my Algebra 1 class. It's this lab I struggle in. And that's where we introduce the idea, so they become leaders in their teams and they collaborate like leaders. It's really cool. So our Feeder Frenzy idea is we want to take this K through 12. We have some awesome teachers here. Some have had my own kids in class, and it's been awesome to work with them. We want to support all struggling kids, and with district support, we're hoping to go district-wide.